Going live with Chris Dorsey, epic debate. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. You're not getting my video, right?
I'm not getting any video. Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm just got a notice on my. I'm trying to go to Facebook Live. Low network connection. You can still record a video. It just won't be live. Let's see.
Well, I'm recording too, so I'm not streaming my live, so it won't have the live lag.
Right. Yeah. I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get the a live recording. Let's see. I'm gonna try to cancel. Let's see. Let me. My apologies. I'm just gonna see if this is gone live because sometimes it just says not gone live and it is actually live. And I'm recording it too. But I mean, this is the easiest way to get everything out. To get everything out live. So there's no, let's see. Is this working? Let's see.
Yeah, it says you're live now.
Okay, it says I'm live now. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this to my main page too, which is where, let's see. Okay, it says I'm live now.
When I want to come home and gain.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share this to my main page too, which is where let's share. Let's see. My apologies. It just should take 1 second. I'm just trying to get this. Okay, looks like we got messages, and that we can be seen, and it looks like there's several folks watching us live. Let's see, and all right. Live now, and I'm recording it. So and I see your message there. Okay. So yeah, we're live. I see what's on your end, and I see my image in the bottom corner there. So yeah.
All right.
We're ready live.
Okay.
And,
yeah, we're live. Adam Green, No More News with Chris Dorsey, the Militia Intelligence Report #2 on YouTube, and we're gonna debate today.
Hold on a second, man. That's my 5th channel for this week. I mean, obviously, let's get some things straight, Adam, before we start. I've made over 100 appearances on national and international television. I've sent you posts, and many people have seen me have posts. They call me an economist on lots of different TV stations and a geopolitical analyst. So it's not just like I have some YouTube channel. Basically we've debated the top economists and government officials, including members of parliament in Syria, brigadier generals in the Yemeni government, Russian government officials, and we expose the fact that the one world government, one government in the world, one entity, the Bank for International Settlements, and the IMF, and of course the SWIFT system, the whole apparatus controls all the governments of the world, and that it's illegal and it's unlawful, and they wage war against the people, and the only recourse is to abolish the government, which is all we've been saying. And anyone who doesn't say that is complete controlled opposition, and that's it. So it's not just that I have one YouTube channel. I've been seen by literally just on one network called Al Alam Net TV, not to mention Press TV, not to mention all the local and international television networks, by hundreds of millions of people saying this information, and no one, because it's not my information, it's the information forwarded by our ancestors in Constitution for the United States and common law, that the government is waging war against the people, that it's unlawful, and the only solution is abolition. So let's get that straight right now. It's not just about one YouTube channel that's our fifth one that we keep getting shadow banned from the Jewish, not Zionist, Jewish-controlled Google. So yeah, go ahead, Adam. I mean, I want to get into this real quick because I'm not very happy about what's going on and being misrepresented. So
how are you being misrepresented? I just said Adam Green, no more news. Chris Dorsey, Militia Intelligence Report number 2, and then you cut me off and act like I'm saying that's all you've done.
Cut you off. I just set the record straight.
Okay. Well, I wasn't finished. All the stuff you said. I know you've been on Press TV, and I know you've had channels shut down. And I wasn't trying to say I wasn't starting the fight off yet. Is what I'm trying to get at.
It's not about. I'm not interested in a fight. Like okay. I'm not fighting. I'm just keeping things accurate.
Cool. Okay. So would it be all right if I go back and kind of bring everybody up to speed so they understand what today's debate is really about?
Sure, you can do that. I think everybody pretty much comprehends what this is about. And before we start, I'd like to say that basically this is exclusively about the fact that we've already been through this information last Friday, and I felt, and I've experienced this many times before, that you were compartmentalizing that information where myself and other members of the militia verify that everyone that you interview on your channel is a asset, a limited hangout, for lack of a better term, asset, and many of them are obvious government intelligence agents, and that they are talking about all the problems, but do not do anything but misrepresent and ignore the only one real solution. And again, this is not our solution. This is the solution that is the law of the land, and it is the only rational solution, and nothing else makes sense. So that's my interpretation. If you have a different interpretation, I welcome a response to that.
Yeah, we'll get into that, but let me just address your first point that you think that I'm stalling or compartmentalizing the information, and you're talking about the interview that I did for your show on Facebook on Friday night, I believe, right?
Yeah, the one that's Friday night.
Yeah, so Friday night I came on your show. You sent. Well, let's back it up even farther. So initially I reached out to you because I was getting comments on my page. So if I'm wanting to ignore you and ignore your information, let's get this straight. That April 18th here, I reached out to you. I'm getting comments by the dozen talking about you on my YouTube channel. Would you be willing to do a Skype interview with me? See, it's the same thing that I do with all these people that you claim are limited hangouts and agents. I find them on social media. I think they have some kind of overlap in topics they cover that I'm interested in, so I contact them. It's not some cabal where I'm working with all these agents and everybody's an agent.
No, I'm not saying everybody's an agent. I'm saying that the particular individuals that I named in redundancy in our public discussions, some of our discussions have been public. All of them can be public.
Well, you took all of our private messages and put them out online, calling me out.
Right. I told you I was going to do that. I do that with everybody. All of my information is public. This is not about, I'm not your friend. I'm not even really your associate, because what I'm saying is that everything else besides the interview with me, everyone else is an obvious government asset forwarding misinformation, whether they're knowingly doing it, which is most cases, or unknowingly doing it, and maybe there might be a couple cases of individuals involved in this sort of activity that are very ignorant, but that is basically it. That was the reason for the Friday when I contacted you and you agreed to go on the Militia Intelligence Report Friday to basically, in my opinion, this was the purpose. Whether you had different interpretation or not, that has nothing to do with me, and that may be the case. But basically, to answer for the fact that every single individual on your that you have interviewed up to the point where you interviewed me, which you're up on the screen right now, is an image that we use or has been used for lots of videos and is our background image for the Blog Talk Radio, which is interesting because that's the only interview you've ever done that doesn't feature either the interviewee that you interview or you and the interviewee in an image. I thought that was interesting, but it does separate the one non-government asset from all the others on your page.
So, okay, well, we'll get into how you think that everybody I talk to is an agent except for you. But as far as this photo, this thumbnail, usually what I do is I scroll through the video and look for a good.
We recorded it. You said you were going to use a thumbnail from an image from a still image from the interview.
And I looked through for a thumbnail and I didn't find one any easy. I Googled militia. I saw this picture and I threw it up. I mean, it's not all a big conspiracy against you.
Oh, no, I mean, it just seems very odd that that's the only one that did it. So no thumbnails came up. I've honestly uploaded probably close to 3,000 videos on YouTube, and I've never once not had a thumbnail come up for a still image in any of the videos.
No, I didn't say they came up. I said the ones that come up didn't look good. Our faces were like, something crooked. And when you Google militia, I got it up on the screen right here. This is the first Wikipedia photo that comes up. I mean,
I don't want to get. I don't wish to get sidetracked on that.
Okay, all right, cool.
I just thought that was odd.
Okay, well, it's not odd. You shouldn't look into it too hard. So anyway, the bottom line is that I did an interview with you.
Define the word odd then. Let's define the word odd. So odd would be the definition different from every other time. That's my definition of odd when it comes to this. Different from every other time. Maybe there's a better word that I could use, but it's different from every other time. But again, don't want to get caught up in that. Let's go ahead, because basically we went into detail, and I have more detail now about how everyone is obviously a government asset on your channel, and they're not doing any bit of good to forward any sort of logical or rational solution to the problems that are being discussed. And they provide misinformation at every turn,
Okay, well, those are some big accusations. We'll have to get into those point by point and one by one. We got into that
for 2 hours on Friday, so we'll do it again today.
Right. So,
right.
But the bottom line is that I reached out to you. I had an interview with you. I put it up unedited. I promoted it all over my page. And then you send a private message to me saying, "Oh, everybody on your channel is an agent." So I come on your show at the first opportunity. Yes. I talk with you for 2 hours. So that's Friday night, the show. It's up, available live stream on YouTube. I work all day Saturday, like
literally. No, it's not on YouTube. It's not on YouTube.
It's on Facebook Live. I shared it all multiple times all over my page. I'm not suppressing any of this information. The point is we did the
Yes,
talk.
you are. You're not putting it up on your YouTube page.
Let me get to that. We did the talk Friday night. I work all day Saturday, morning to night. I work Sunday. On 2 o'clock on Sunday, I responded and I said, oh yeah, I will screen record the interview with my computer.
Record it, just MP3. It takes 5 minutes.
You can't MP3 straight from Facebook
Yes, you
Live.
can.
Well, I don't know how to do that. I'm going to do it the way I normally do it, where I play the whole... Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish.
Onlinevideomurder.com.
Okay, I use OBS, so I have to play the 2-hour video and record it. So it's going to take my computer up for 2 hours, and it'll take another hour and a half, 2 hours to upload to YouTube. The point is on 2 o'clock on Sunday, I told you I'll get it up sometime this week. And then the next day, Monday, was Memorial Day. Let me finish. Stop interrupting.
I don't trust you.
Trust me? What's to trust? The interview was Friday night. I worked all day Saturday. I told you middle of the day on Sunday at 2 o'clock, I'll put it up sometime this week. And then the very next day, Monday, on Memorial Day, you start harassing me all over my... Hold on. Let me finish. You start harassing me all over my page, posting all these private messages we made with one another, saying everybody and me are all government shills, and it's just like ridiculous. You gave me 1 day to put up the video.
When I don't trust someone, then my communication is public. I don't really like to communicate in any other way except for public, especially with situations where all of the other individuals that I'm dealing with at this level are in some ways have direct connection to overt, clear government agents.
You're wasting your time going after people who are more close.
Let's really get into this.
Go ahead.
Because what you're doing now is you're attacking me. You're attacking me personally, but this is not about me. But you're attacking the message. So what you're doing there is you're attacking the basis of the United States of America, the basis of the English common law, and the basis of reasoned political and government thought over probably the past 500 years.
I'm not attacking any of that. I'm talking about you attacking my page and attacking me for saying that I'm not putting up the interview when I said I would do it, and I said I'd do it sometime this week, and you gave me 1 day before you had a heart attack.
I have not had a heart attack.
You have no patience at all. No patience. You gave me 1 day. I don't put it up over Memorial Day, and you freak out.
I didn't freak out.
Sure you did. Look at my Facebook. Look at what you did to my Facebook.
Look, if you want to talk about the fact that you were stalling and you want to make it about me communicating with you, yeah, it's all public. What everybody's saying, I'm saying, look, dude, I called out your whole channel as being BS. When are you going to expose this?
I came on your show and talked to you about all that. You keep saying my whole channel, everything you do. I could so easily say the same thing to you. You're an agent. You say crazy stuff to make us look bad. Your whole channel's a joke. I mean, these are just baseless accusations. We can get into each guest and you could talk about the specifics, but just these general accusations.
Hey, did Ryan Dawson tell people to vote for Donald Trump? Are you going out telling people to vote in rigged elections? Are you saying that you're going to run in rigged elections? Are elections rigged? Do you think the elections are rigged?
Very likely that they are, yes.
Okay, so why are you promoting individuals who are vaping on television and and appear like that they are saying crazy things like, I just woke up a year and a half ago. They just came across this information that we've been talking about on international television for the past, 10, 12 years. But this guy who nobody knows.
You're talking about Patrick Little. I'm with you, man. I don't disagree. I have my suspicions of him, too. I've criticized some of the stuff that he's done. And when I did an interview with him and I called him out, I said, people think you're a shill. What's your response to that?
Okay, why did you endorse him then?
Because he's running against Feinstein, and at least he's raising some of the issues that I agree with.
So,
what's the worst that could happen?
Do you endorse Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan?
He's getting mainstream press everywhere. Okay.
Exactly my point. That is what you call the definition of a limited hangout.
You
Of
could be
course.
right. You could be right. You're not the only one that thinks that.
I'm not right. I'm just saying what is.
Okay. Like I said, a lot of my other friends agree with you on Patrick Little. They're suspicious too, so I'll give you that.
Who are your friends?
What?
Who are your friends?
Other people on Facebook friends, people that I
Okay.
talk to. Some of the Talpiot guys are suspicious of him.
Talpiot? Are you talking to people in Mossad 8200?
No, not the Talpiot Talk group. Brendan O'Connell.
Oh, the Talpiot Talk group.
Yeah.
Okay. So, exactly. Not 8200, not the fact that Mossad has a back door into all the voting machines and all of the water filtration systems around the world and all the infrastructure, nuclear codes and all that. This one word that nobody knows exactly what it is, or the average person, 99% of the population, have no concept of what Talpiot is. So let's explain things to people. I really think that using terminology that nobody knows is another tactic. But again, I challenged every single individual that you interview to a debate if they are not afraid, in which I will say straight up right to them, you're a government agent. All of them. Hey, did Ryan Dawson, did he support Donald Trump?
I'm not exactly sure if he did, but I think I've heard you and others say that and criticize him for that. So.
Oh, but you don't know. Hey, remember you said the same thing about Christopher Bolin allegedly escaping the United States because he's been targeted by the government. As someone who has actually been targeted by the government, I get annoyed when I see other people who pretend to be targeted by the government, and then they can jet set not only around the world and meet with intelligence officials in other countries who are waiting for them, but then also jet set around the United States and travel. And if they're targeted by the government, how does somebody have mailing addresses in Illinois, bank accounts in Washington, D.C., Estonia, and I'm talking about Christopher Bolin, and Sweden, and live in multiple countries? When you're targeted by the government like I am, my last bank account wasn't under the name Chris Dorsey. It was under the name non-assumpsit, meaning I'm not a party to this contract. Since I've done that and refused to sign a name on a fraudulent document based in fraud, which everything about the government is based in fraud, not just the financial system, not just the court system, not just the bar association, every single thing about the government is fraudulent. Do you disagree?
I don't know if I want to speak in absolutes and say everything is fraudulent, but definitely I agree with you. Yeah, Chris, listen, I agree with you on a lot of your premises.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me get to my point.
Okay.
I am not allowed to have a bank account. I applied to have bank accounts, and I am refused. So how do other individuals allegedly being targeted by the government, how do they have bank accounts in multiple different countries? Do you know about how intelligence operations and apparatus work? That's their number one tool, because to do anything, you need a financial source. You need to be able to pay for things. Right. And when you can't pay for things, everything is impossible. The financial system is based on fraud, and everything about our society and how we live is based on the financial system. Is there anything incorrect about that?
No, I don't disagree with that.
Okay, fair enough.
So, these are reasonable questions to be asking of Bolin.
No, I just made a statement, and you agreed to it. It's not a question.
Okay, well, the issues you're raising...
Am I incorrect about that? Am I incorrect? Because you laughed. Am I incorrect about that?
I laughed because you're interrupting me when I'm trying to agree with you.
No. But what you did is just made a statement, and then you said it was a question.
No,
I made a statement of fact. You agreed, and then you said it's a question.
You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said the questions you're raising about Bolin are reasonable.
Okay. I have no questions, though. I'm making statements of fact.
No, you are asking questions. You're saying, how does he travel around and have access to bank accounts and all this money? And if he fled his trial for when he says that agents showed up at his house and roughed him up, how was he able to go to Europe and fly around and come back to America and fly around? Okay, you're not the first person to ask that question. I've wondered that myself.
Of course. So and he met with German intelligence, according to him. And we talked about this on the show on Friday, and you said you were unaware of it. And
I don't remember him saying that part. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just don't remember that part. But
I do. And then Clifford Eberhardt, who was on the line, who has seen Christopher Bolin speak, I believe multiple times, stated that when he saw Bolin speak and has followed his work, that this was one of the main aspects of how he got his alleged legitimacy in coming up with some of the information that he is talking about in regard to September 11th and other topics.
Okay, so my problem with all this, though, is that we could raise all these suspicions about Bolin, that's fine, but who do you think he's working for? Do you think he's working for Mossad or German intelligence? And what is he saying that's serving them as an asset? Does he have disinfo about 9/11, or is he just an agent? Let me finish.
That's good that you asked that question, because we've been saying this over and over and over and over again on Friday night and every other time that we've spoken. When there's one solution, so basically, September 11th, that's one case. One case. These acts of war carried out by the government against the people are continual. They happen continuously. They're nonstop. So they're acts of war against the people. And when you focus on one thing and one thing only, and you dredge up things that have already been established and already been discussed, and provide no solution except for to buy somebody's book, then it of course is the only thing that is completely inconsequential, because what do you have? You have a problem of a discussion of a problem that you discuss over and over and over again and provide no solution to. So when an act of war is carried out, and here's another thing, because I want to make clear, you state that that it is not everybody wishes to oust the government, and not everybody wishes to, quote unquote, join the militia. Joining the militia is nothing. That's written into law. That, the militia is written into law and is more important than, say, judges, a Supreme Court, a public school system. It's the only thing that guarantees a free state. And I'm paraphrasing, I should say, U.S. Constitution. So if we're told in the very first founding document of the United States, that let's see, it's all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that these are life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are institute among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that when any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. And again, how many times did I repeat that in our discussions? It's not me. I'm not smart enough to come up with this on my own. I'm only smart enough to be able to read what the law is and state it over and over again. Virginia Constitution. Let's see. and that when any government shall be found inadequate or contrary to these purposes being the benefit the people, a majority of the community has the indubitable, inalienable, and indefeasible right to reform, alter, or abolish it in such manner as shall be judged most conducive to the public weal.
What is that you're reading from?
That's Virginia Constitution, Article 1, Section 3, I believe. It's
okay.
Virginia Declaration of Rights.
Yeah,
that's the basis of the Bill of Rights. And when you talk about the rules governing the apparatus of the United States, the most powerful apparatus is located in Virginia. So that's the law of the land, where the most powerful apparatus, most powerful institutions of the government are, which are engaging in war against the people. And we're told in this document, which is currently, it's not something that we're saying, hey, it's not the government doesn't abide by their rules, but nobody has said the Constitution has been replaced publicly, even though it has. Continuity of operations, continuity of government, Homeland Security, FEMA, presidential directive, all that's in this book, the Militia Handbook. But what I'm saying is, this is what we're instructed to do. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out, hey, our government is engaging in war against us. They have usurped the Constitution. So what are our instructions? Oh, our instructions are to abolish the government. How do we do that? Well, the Constitution of Virginia, Constitution for the United States, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation in detail talk about the militia, which is, nothing more than the body of the people trained to arms, must have control of all the weapons of war, and if they don't, the only thing that we are left with is a tyranny. It's a very simple concept, and the same goes with the money supply. Without control of the money supply, that's it. So anybody talking about all these other stuff, which I must say, on the Militia Intelligence Report, on hundreds of interviews on international and national television seen by millions of people, we make the connection not only about all the stuff that you cover that has any relevance and do it better, but then we also connect the dots and say, here's how you solve it. And if you just talk about the problem, you haven't even covered 40% of what is relevant to the people.
Well, I hear you when you're talking about only talking about the problems and not any solutions. And I don't disagree with you with all of this militia stuff. You know, that's why I had you on my show. I heard you out. I agreed with you on a lot of things. I'm like one of your closest allies in all of this. And then you're spending all your energy attacking me and all the people that I've gone out to and reached out for interviews. And I just don't think that that's productive. And it undermines your argument.
But it's accurate.
It undermines your argument to go around and say everybody everywhere is a shill.
It's not my argument.
Well, that's not my argument. So it's whose is it if it's not mine? It's yours.
No. My arguments are not my own. What I'm advocating is what is in the law, what smarter individuals than myself put forward. And so what I'm saying and what you think or what I believe you are saying is that I'm basically attacking that which I'm attacking right now. And yeah, I don't deny that. I don't deny anything I said. And I've given the reason why, and there is evidence to back up my claims. Prima facie evidence.
I'm saying that when you call everybody a shill, it waters down, okay, or government assets, it waters down what it means to be a shill.
Why?
According to you,
Because
the
they
whole
are
world is a
government
shill
as-
besides you and the people in your militia. I mean, that's that.
No. This is about what the founders of this country wrote and how they lived their lives before they founded this country, how society was. And this is not just hearkening back to a different time. This is about rationality and logic. These are scientific facts. These are scientific facts. Force is how human beings are governed, and it has been since the beginning of time. And
Right.
it's how
Yeah.
it's how we're being enslaved right now. We have authority to use force, and our enemy doesn't have the authority to use force. That's simple.
I'm with you, man. Didn't I agree in both of our shows that the system is probably
Let's talk about millionaires and billionaires.
Oh, hold on. Let me just finish this point. I talked with you on both shows about how the system's probably too far gone, that the only way we can save it is through some form of the citizens standing up in a militia-type group to take the government back. And, recently I saw a video about the militia in Ukraine, I believe it was, and they really are basically running stuff over there, and they're a powerful force. So I'm not poo-pooing anything that you're talking about with the militia stuff. What I'm saying is that I think that your energy and your efforts could be more productive if they weren't attacking the guy who has you on his YouTube show and comes on your show and promotes your work. Just the other day after our interview, here, let me get this up. You can see this. The video that you're in with Johnny Gat, where you talk about Trump being
He mirrored that video.
He mirrored that video from you, but you see this? This is me promoting Chris Dorsey. The Johnny Gat video featuring Chris Dorsey is the most important video on the internet exposing Trump as a Zionist agent. It's like I've been nothing but nice to you, and you are always so suspicious of me. You think I'm a shill and an agent just like everybody else, even though I'm agreeing with like 90% of the stuff you're saying. But we can get on to go ahead and respond, and then we'll get on to the millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, what I'm saying is I have a lot of experience, and again, that video has been up on dozens of different channels, and all of them but that one has been taken down.
That's a shame, because that clip from CNN is huge of Trump being bailed out by the banks.
It's huge, and then we connect the dots to Wilbur Ross and the Rothschilds, and Wilbur Ross was the one who actually wrote down that debt of Donald Trump's. That's fine, but again, what I'm saying is all somebody has to do is watch CNN and stick a camera in front of the TV screen, and it's all displayed for everyone, every step of the way. I've made thousands of videos like that, thousands. So picking out one and saying, this is one, hey, I appreciate that it's out there, because that's where everything stops. But that's what I'm saying about everything. We talk about hundreds of issues, and any one of those issues, and it's not about me being correct, it's about me being able to look on the wall and read the simple, obvious, gigantic handwriting that's on there, and have everyone else look at the wall and say, there's no writing there. Let's investigate. Let's discuss. Let's not talk about a solution. Let's talk about the problem more, and let's have a little bit of, and I'm talking about the misinformation artist, conjecture that is obviously wrong when we talk about certain events that we were sure about in 2008. Now, when I met with Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman in 2008, he's the founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. He was the most legitimate individual that would have known about NORAD, would have known about the controlled demolition of the towers, and about how nothing on Earth besides a missile that was allowed to get through to hit the Pentagon, or an explosion from within the Pentagon, could have possibly gotten through the defenses of the United States, because he was he was a member of NORAD, and he knows these things. And when we established back in 2008, it was Israel, in a conversation between the two, that it was Israel that carried out 9/11, and it was unambiguous. What else is there? That's 2008. And he told me, Chris, look, the only solution is the militia. And I said, wow, that seems a little strange, man, because the militia to me seems to be a bunch of crazy people running around in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to be educated on the issue. Educated. And Bowman wasn't walking around with a AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
He was going from place to place before he died early because of injuries he got in combat, carrying out crimes. He was carrying out crimes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think that a lot of people in the country agree with you. Maybe not publicly, but to themselves, that we're too far gone. That a militia and uprising against the corrupt government is the only solution. And I feel like throughout history, especially in our early years of our country, this was like the normal thing that everybody would discuss, and everybody was aware, and it wasn't considered extreme. But over the decades and over the hundreds of years, it's been kind of pushed more to make it seem like the stuff you're talking about is extremist and dangerous and revolution and violent. And I don't see it that way, and I agree with you on a lot of this stuff. Like I said, my only problem is I can tell your frustration that people aren't more focused on the solutions and on the solution of the militia. But the problem is that I don't think it's productive for you to say everybody that isn't talking about it is an agent, because you're focusing on the wrong enemy here, is what I think.
I focus on all the enemies. Mm-hmm. They are controlled. They are government assets, and they're government assets in this very simple way. If there's one solution to abolish this criminal government, is if there's only one way to take down this criminal government, and that's the definition of a limited hangout. And these other folks use these tactics I first started seeing these inside the Democratic Party with individuals I knew, congressmen, who would complain about certain things to me, to my face, and then vote in the exact opposite way. And they have it's easy to fool folks lots of ways just by empty rhetoric. And empty rhetoric, again, even if they said these things, which they are not, even if they said the real solution and the only thing that wouldn't make them a government asset, which they're not, they still haven't done anything about it. Not one thing. And these guys are operating in foreign countries. They have a budget and their stuff, number one, is not that interesting. It's not that great. And they have a load of sycophantic followers that forward their information. And what I know about how the government works is that, say, any sort of political movement, they have a bottomless budget to even pay people to make comments and click like on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So again, there's one solution, and the only solution is rational and logical dealing with fraud. Are we supposed to accept fraud, or are we supposed to abolish fraud? If we're enslaved by fraud, if fraudsters are waging war against us and it's irrefutable, what are we supposed to do? Write a book about it and try to maximize our profit in pretending to fight this fraud?
Are we supposed to attack all the people who are talking about much of the same stuff as you are, but just aren't pushing the militia overthrow of the government as hard as you are? Like, is that the best thing to do?
Lawful abolition.
Lawful abolition.
You could say lawful overthrow,
Okay.
but lawful abolition.
All right. So,
and what I'm saying is what I've already said. When somebody's saying a plane hit the Pentagon, and even planes hit the World Trade Center themselves, I'm saying they're misinformation artists. When people are advocating voting for Donald Trump and also saying that they're anti-Zionist, nothing they ever say should ever be taken seriously.
yeah.
Right.
There's a guy on that point. There's a guy that was interviewed by the Young Turks who was at a Trump rally, and he said, "I'm voting for Trump because he's going to stop the Zionists."
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. But another thing is, I've been to Trump rallies.
Mm-hmm.
I confront these guys. I've confronted Alex Jones. You see, other folks act as if, oh, well, hey, we've really exposed Alex Jones and blah, blah, blah. Have you said it to his face?
Well, making a video and putting on YouTube that's seen by a million people is exposing him more than saying something to his face that could be in private that nobody hears.
What about on InfoWars itself?
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's exposing him. Here,
Right.
I want to ask you, what would like
let's stop right here and expose exactly what Alex Jones is. If you see Alex Jones in real life, you'd never take him seriously because this guy is I don't know, I guess cocaine. I know alcohol because I've witnessed it firsthand. This guy is a drunk, roided up professional wrestler, and no one should take anything he says seriously. So it's not about exposing Alex Jones. It's about infiltrating his outfit and making him try to keep you off of it, which they did to me multiple times, and then forcing my way on, and then making them go, oh, if we stop this guy, oh, we can't. So let's let him keep going. So, I mean, there you have it. And how about this? How about confronting the past, Kane, McDonald, the past, 3 governors of Virginia for their complicity in the 9/11 attacks because the Commonwealth of Virginia confiscated, and many other reasons, but one of the main reasons, confiscated the hundreds and hundreds of cameras pointing right at the Pentagon, and warning a governor of Virginia right before he was taking off to go to Israel, hey, don't go there. You'll commit treason if you go there. And doing it standing right beside Senator Chris Dodd, now he's former Senator Chris Dodd, now head of the Motion Picture Association of America. And then when this guy gets back, I confront him 2 more times. And what I'll say is, I have not seen any of the guys on your station confront them. And I can tell you, when I confront these guys like the acting attorney general of the United States or multiple special agents in charge of the Richmond FBI for their crimes, not only do I have their crimes and can know more about what they did than themselves, but these guys shake, their knees shake when they see me coming. And it's not because of me. Again, I'm nothing. I'm a lowly creation of God, the creator of all things. But what I'm saying is, this is very simple. God creates man and man creates government. If anyone in any way goes along with anything that the government does and doesn't call for its lawful abolition, they are absolutely on the wrong track. So here's what I'm going to do right now. I've got the I've got to move closer to the
your battery's going to run out?
No, I've just lost the connection on Facebook Live. So it should come back up. This happens every time we do Facebook Live, so it should come back up here in just another minute. But I mean,
well, while you're waiting on that, let me just say a few things. I agree. You do a great job with your confrontations, and that's why I originally wanted to do an interview with you, because I liked seeing that stuff, and that's why a lot of people love you. Your courage to get out in the real world and actually try to make a difference. But what I'm curious is, what would the lawful abolition of the government via the militia, what would it look like? Because I hear you say we're going to take back the weapons of war, and we're going to...
I wrote an entire book about that.
Okay. Well, I just have a few specific questions.
And actually, let me say real quick about the book. Okay. It's cheap, and somebody can go and download the book right now. They can. I wrote it at a simple 8th grade level. They could probably read the book while they're listening to this program. A fast reader could probably read it in 45 minutes. We're back on Facebook Live and talking about the Militia Handbook. And what I'm saying is, you can read it. I'll read it to you. You asked the question, so I'll read it to you now. The solution. Whoa.
Well, if you could just, before you get into reading that, I had like a specific question. You've mentioned the people.
The specific question is, however we're ruled over, that's how to rule over those who we wish to rule over. Government is servants of the people. That's what's written into law. Mm-hmm. Since the people ordain the government, it's written into the law that the government is the servants of the people. Now, I want to bring up, you said something about citizen. I repudiate the word citizen, especially as defined in Constitution for the United States, unlawfully, after the Civil War. And that was a touchstone for destroying the militia. That was the destruction of the militia. The last of the militia was before the so-called Civil War, the war between the states. Okay, so if we have a government that is making the people their servants, and they do so through what? Use of force. Mm-hmm. If you don't pay your taxes, somebody with guns is going to come and take your property away. That's correct.
Yeah.
There's nobody that can dispute that.
Not for you, though. I remember you in the Jan Irvin interview, you said that they show up at your door because you don't pay your taxes, and that I'm not sure what happens. I haven't seen that video.
They showed up at the door of my business because I don't pay taxes.
Okay.
Right. And I operated for another year and a half inside the Commonwealth of Virginia without paying any taxes, state or federal. And I didn't charge any taxes in my business. I told everybody, hey, I'm not going to charge tax on this because I don't pay tax, so I'm not going to charge it. So, yeah, absolutely. And, hey, folks can look up my name, and usually the first thing that comes up is Chris Dorsey's Secret Service. So, yeah, when the Secret Service comes up at my house, there's a good instruction manual for how to deal lawfully with the government when they try to set you up.
Which one of these is the video you're talking about? These are the same ones, right?
They're all the same video.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting when portions of this video ended up in a local CBS News report, the Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security filed a privacy complaint and had the video removed from my YouTube channel, Richmond Peace, which was the only video that was removed from the channel until I don't know, probably 2016 or 2017. There's me telling them to get off my property.
That we need to speak to you about. An anonymous tip came in An anonymous tip.
An anonymous tip, of course. They made up the anonymous tip along with folks like local government agents. Again, let's get something straight. Let's get something real straight. And yeah, you can show this guy's ugly mug on the computer. These guys are not so secret anymore. They're not so secret anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What is, if I'm dealing with these guys, these other folks that you're talking about that you have on your show, I mean, your channel, they're nothing and nobody. I know I confront these agents face to face, undercover agents, overt agents.
Listen, Chris, even if you think that your work is the best, which I'm not saying that you don't do good work, you do.
My work is the best. We're talking about
you say everybody else is shit. You say everybody else, their work is limited hangout, and they're all
who's everybody else? I'm talking
everybody
about
on my show, Jan Irving,
everyone on your channel,
all the other militias.
Why don't you name everyone you've interviewed, and I will go along with that. I'll start. Ryan Dawson, Patrick Little, Christopher Bolin, Jeremy Roth Kuchel. I mean, you asked me the other day, shouldn't Jews have a seat at the table? Number one, I don't think, just to be straight out, I don't think that they should have a seat at the table in this, because they're behind it. And number two, they have all the seats at the table, and even in the anti-Jewish and anti-Zionist so-called movement, they have an inordinate number of seats at the table, even though they are a tiny fraction of the population.
Well, I'm not going to disagree that they have a lot of controlled opposition and that they're really influential, but specifically Jeremy Roth Kuchel,
yes, specifically Jeremy Roth Kuchel.
You want to hear how I did the interview with him? I put out a video. It got picked up by Kevin Barrett and him on their show. Somebody sent me the clip.
Kevin Barrett, of course.
And then I say, can I do an interview with you? I listen to what he has to say. The stuff that he says checks out to me. I can look past the fact that he's Jewish. Not every Jewish person is bad, you know.
Checks out. Kevin Barrett is famous for saying certain types of false flags are false flags and others are not.
So what's wrong with that?
And usually his angle is the false flags that blame Muslims are fake, and the ones that blame others are real.
Okay.
And beyond that, Kevin Barrett is obviously a government agent, and it's prima facie evidence because he gets paid by a government. Correct? Am I correct or incorrect?
What government pays him? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I mean, you're not? What does he do for a living? What did he do for a living?
Doesn't he have a talk radio show and get donations?
He wasn't a college professor?
Oh yeah, he got fired from that.
Oh yeah. Does he still get paid? Did he ever get paid? When did he stop being a government agent?
I believe he's been fired for a number of years from his professor job. You
don't think he receives any more money? He receives some money.
I don't know. I've never worried about that. We should be supporting people who get fired from their jobs for talking about Israeli and Zionist crimes.
Professors at public universities get paid by?
They get paid by taxpayer money from the local area and from the state and federal.
From the local area and the state. What is the name for the apparatus by which our money is stolen through something that you're calling taxes? What's the entity that does that? What is it called?
The IRS, the central banking system? I'm not sure. I mean,
government? The government.
The government. Yes, the government paid his.
Okay. So again, how long did it take you to get to the point that Kevin Barrett is now, I believe, because a lot of these professors and teachers, they still get paid. Military, of course, after they're not even working for the government anymore. UW professor argues that Kevin Barrett should not be fired.
He looks like he was fired in 2006.
So he's still getting paid by the government.
I don't think so. I don't think you get paid after you've been fired for over 10 years.
Okay. So let's go this way then. Since you're being, I believe you're being obtuse. At what point did Kevin Barrett stop being a government agent?
I guess whenever his paychecks stopped coming from his professor job.
So you know 100% that he no longer gets paid through his job as taking money from the government through taxes. So
I'm not sure if he got some kind of whatever it's called when you get fired and they still pay you for a little bit, or if he gets he has retirement funds. I don't know his finances. Why you're
exactly. So, but you're saying that he doesn't get paid by them, but then you say you don't know.
I don't know. I haven't asked him. I haven't even thought about it.
But then my question becomes even more pertinent. At what point did he stop being a government agent?
I don't know. Why don't you ask him? The point
is that
he won't
talk to me. He won't talk to me.
Yeah, he doesn't talk to me either.
I challenged everybody to a debate. Kevin Barrett, when we send him private messages regarding him participating in our APAC demonstration every year, we get nothing back from him except for messages asking me to donate money to him.
Yeah, well, I've tried to reach out to Barrett too, and I've never gotten any responses back. He hasn't come on my show.
I've seen you interview him.
Yeah, I didn't even ask. I just showed up and stuck a camera in front of his face at the 9/11 Truth Festival.
Yeah, I wasn't invited to that festival.
It was a film screening. I got to premiere the remake of my documentary there, and it was in Oakland, California. So,
all right.
You know that they.
Yep.
Never mind.
Hey, yeah, we got lots of comments. Kevin Barrett spreads disinformation, misinformation. I challenge all of them to a debate. Hey, so we've got multiple folks on there. I saw that that you're interviewing some folks. Yeah, Corbett, obviously, obviously a complete government asset. Misinformation artist.
All of them to a debate.
The Bell Edmund, of course. So we've got other folks out there. Clifford Eberhardt, he appears on lots of different shows. Zachary Hubbard, the Militia Intelligence Report. He's got a YouTube channel that has, I don't know, 2 or 3 times the amount of followers of somebody you interviewed 2 days ago. He's challenging everybody to a debate. He's probably, he could be smarter than I am. He could be more informed than I am. Have him on. See what he said. So it's not just me. It's anyone who can read writing and comprehend what words mean. That's what this is all about. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not about me. It's not about anyone else. It's about the misinformation and the individuals who carry it out and the only solution to solve the government problems. That is it. Nothing more.
You have a really hard line in the sand when you say that you have to talk about...
I don't have it. That's what this has a hard line in the sand.
Okay.
And it's got to be a hard line in the sand.
Okay. Good point. So
because ignoring it is what got us to this point.
I'm not ignoring it. I reached out to you and had you on my show, and now this is the third interview or debate I've done with you. So I'm not ignoring it. And I'm agreeing with you on a lot of it.
I'll ask you a question. When is Friday night's program in which this is the second time we've exposed the limited hangout? When is the first one going to go up? Because if somebody came to me and says, hey man, you're 100% BS, and they've done it, I immediately stop whatever I'm doing. If they do it somewhere in Richmond, I'll drive right over to where they are, or ride my bike, or walk, or whatever I have to do, and I rise to the challenge and say, this is public, this is what we're saying publicly, everybody look at this as much as they can.
And you know that's what I like about you. I love your spirited debate, and I love how you speak. You say it like you believe it, like you think. You know, you speak what's on your mind. I like that. But to say that I'm suppressing the interview from the other day is just totally disingenuous. Because for one, it's already posted on Facebook.
Then put it up. Then post it.
I will, man. You're being so pushy. You're making me want to take
obvious government chill. The other day, you wasted 2 hours that you could have been putting up a legitimate.
I had that talk scheduled 2 weeks or a week and a half in advance.
Why? Why are you scheduling?
Why am I scheduling a debate with somebody who's all over Facebook groups who says that that Bin Laden and KSM were responsible for 9/11?
Nobody knows who that guy is. Nobody knows who that guy is. He has very few followers. He's nobody or nothing, except for he says that he was a psychiatry or psychology major at CCNY, the Jewiest university in the world.
That's interesting. I missed that part.
I've never heard of him. What's that?
I said I missed that part. He said that in the interview?
That's what it says on his Facebook page.
Oh, on his Facebook page. Interesting. I'll have to ask him about that.
And this guy pops up out of nowhere. And the second or not the second, but after I challenge individuals who are known to a debate, who are known, and challenge every single one of them individually, this guy pops up out of nowhere and then all of a sudden starts challenging me to a debate. I've never heard of this guy. And then I start getting harassing phone calls from stooges of this guy at 3 o'clock in the morning, which I have recorded. And the only pictures of these guys, this guy who named Joel, who's a Jew, on the internet are indicating that he is an overt Jewish communist atheist who is now and or was serving in the United States military.
And this guy that sent you these messages in the middle of the night, he's related to...
Called me on my phone.
He called you...
On a private number.
You should have your phone on airplane mode at night.
What?
You should have your phone on airplane mode at night.
I answer the phone whenever anybody calls.
So he's related to Adam Fitzgerald, the guy that I debated about some...
Yes,
about 9/11?
Absolutely.
How do you know that?
But it doesn't matter.
No.
Again,
how do you know that? You made the
matter.
claim, so I'm curious how you know that.
Because this guy and Adam Fitzgerald were the only individuals talking about a debate between myself and Adam Fitzgerald. And this guy is spamming all over my page telling me I'm afraid to debate Adam Fitzgerald, somebody who is a complete moron, an obvious government agent who nobody ever heard of outside. There's no record of him on the internet except for when you do a Google search. The only thing that pops up is your interview with him, and that nobody else is going, yeah, Chris, debate this guy, and that this guy is spamming my page, which takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of effort.
I know. All of your friends are spamming my page in the last few days. My feed has been consumed by you and Clifford and that Daniel guy and some other sovereign guy. It's like I could be making videos and living my life, but it's just being energy suckers.
You've never done anything so important. You've never done anything close to so important. So I say good. It worked. My tactic worked.
I just interviewed you last week, and you're saying I've never done anything important. Just the way you put everybody else down and only what you talk about is important is a real turnoff to a lot of people. You're not going to get people to follow you when you just screaming everybody's a shill everywhere.
I'm not looking to date you. I'm not into dudes. I'm not looking to date you. I don't care whether you're turned off or turned on.
I didn't mean it in sexual terms. Come on. All right. Well, let's talk about the militia, please.
No. You're making it. Look, you're all over the place. You can't stick to what's already been established. Nothing else matters except for what's already established.
You sound like a broken record. You just keep saying it over and over again. Let's talk about some of the specifics of the lawful abolition of the government. So you say that the citizens are going to take back the weapons of war.
No, not the citizens. You keep using the word citizens.
Sorry.
So let's define citizens.
The militia. No, I don't want to define every word. The militia is going to... You're getting so caught up in the semantics, okay?
No. Okay. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States. So that's citizen. That's the mailman.
A Max cameo, right? Max is your dog?
That's Max cameo. Let's see. Okay. People, on the other hand. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States. Who ordains the government? The people. Who's subject to the jurisdiction of the government created by the people? Citizens. So
say people instead of citizens. That's what you want me to say people instead of citizens. That's the right terminology.
What do you think?
Well, they're basically interchangeable to me. I think it's frankly semantics,
but it's not interchangeable when it comes to the law of the land.
Okay.
Is it?
You're probably right. You're probably right. So that's a good point. But
well, if I'm only probably right, tell me how I could possibly be incorrect.
I don't know. I'm not a legal scholar. That part isn't too important to me.
Scholar.
Can I get my question out?
But why they call me an economist is not because I've trained and paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a piece of paper to say that I'm these things. Is that I debate and I research the economy and the law, and other people call me an economist and a legal scholar. But what I'm saying is this stuff's simple. All I know is how to define and look up words. When citizen is defined in a document as being under the jurisdiction of the United States government, then it seems like something completely different than people, which is defined as creating and ordaining that entity, which is called government.
Okay.
Is that incorrect?
No, I'm not saying that's incorrect.
No, I'm saying is that's prima facie. That's pretty much established, correct?
Correct, sure.
Okay.
So let me ask. Say the YouTube stops holding you back. You start growing your militia.
YouTube. Like, I've been doing this before anybody was on YouTube. It's nothing to do with YouTube. YouTube is owned by Google. Google is run by, controlled by, allegedly, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, Russian Jews whose parents were military intelligence officers in the Soviet Union before becoming military intelligence officers in the United States through NASA, which is part of the United States military, which is one and the same with the Russian cosmonaut program. How do I know that? Well, I mean, Robert Bowman was in charge of weaponizing space for the United States government. That's where I originally started getting this information, but I knew it even before then. So what we're talking about is simple. It's the lawful abolition. Every tool that the government uses to carry out tyranny against the people in an irrational and illogical manner, we can take those same tools and use it to maintain the freedom of the people. So when the government is always watching the people, what is the alternative? Anything you can do to me, I can do to you. Right. And when we have the body of the people exposing all of this, it's very simple. All government officials, all top government officials, how do you control them? Who controls the president of the United States? He has handlers. Have you ever seen those videos of the Secret Service agents ordering Ronald Reagan and other presidents around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, tell him wrap up the speech, and Reagan's like, oh, okay.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Wrap it up.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
You've seen my interactions with the Secret Service, and you've seen the presidents of the United States interactions with the Secret Service. They're different. And what power does the Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security have over these government agents? They're in the room with them at all times.
They're weapons,
the government agents who are elected officials are not armed, and the Secret Service is. So let's replace the Secret Service with the militia. And instead of the government spying on everything the people do, the people spy on everything that the government does.
Amen to that. I agree with that.
Instead of using the word spy, how about the word monitor? We get into this in the Militia Handbook. 24-hour monitoring of all the levers of power. 24-hour monitoring of the gold reserves. 24-hour monitoring of the algorithmic computer programs that control every single aspect of every government in the world. 24-hour surveillance of all the nuclear sites. We don't even know how much gold or nukes that there are out there. We don't know about these EMPs. Everything declassified. Everything the people have knowledge of everything that the government does.
Cool. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that. Those are some good ideas. What
don't you agree with? What don't you agree with of that?
Let's talk about how you say to do, was it hang or firing squad for the millionaires and billionaires? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Of course. We've already established that all the economy and finances of this country and every other country are controlled by the Bank for International Settlements, the IMF, the SWIFT system, the World Bank, the United Nations, etc. That's
right.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Do you disagree with that?
Oh, absolutely not. You're totally right.
Okay, so that is the vehicle by which war is waged on the people. In order to have a war carried out, there needs to be a financing source for the war. Correct?
Right.
Okay. So, this financial system benefits only those who are engaged in war against the people. Article 3, Section 3 of Constitution for the United States makes clear what the punishment for treason is. Do you know what the punishment for treason is in the United States?
I suppose it's death, either firing squad, guillotine, or hanging.
Okay.
Right.
So, very, very simply, all millionaires and billionaires are benefiting from this system, and they are paying into the system theoretically and literally.
By force. They're forced to.
By force.
Okay.
By force. Through their taxes. Right? Through their taxes. Yep. They're financing this war against the people. So we see through this, illegitimate Nuremberg, and it's not just millionaires and billionaires. It's all bar association attorneys. It's all judges. They're all criminal, and they're all engaged in war against the people. Do you think millionaires and billionaires are not engaged in war against the people?
In an indirect way, I see how that argument can be made.
How is it indirect and not direct?
Well, because they're forced. I mean, I could say I'm adding to the oppression of the people because I pay taxes all the time in California. Right.
But what we're talking about, and we get into this in the book, we're talking about logic and rationality. And another thing about millionaires and billionaires is that we're telling them this, and the moment they say, okay, well, our assets are seized lawfully, they're ill-gotten gains, anyone who's a millionaire and billionaire is involved in theft. Do you disagree?
Yes, people can have legitimate businesses and become millionaires.
How? If everything is a fraud, how, if everything about the economy is a fraud, how can you legitimately be a millionaire or a billionaire?
Just because the economy is based on a fiat system of printing money doesn't mean that all the transactions, all the voluntary transactions, if there's a local restaurant owned by a mom and pop and people go in there and give them money to get a product.
You know about restaurants and money laundering, don't you? Every restaurant, I mean, there's
not
like
every
five
restaurant.
restaurants around here. They're all, I mean, I'm sure it's the same in California. But every restaurant in the city of Richmond, man, they're running cocaine out of them. It's money laundering, all of it.
Well, I'm sure that happens sometime, but not every business, not every millionaire.
Sometimes. Okay.
Can I get another question?
Who are the millionaires and how are the millionaires and billionaires? And they have the right to
trial,
make money, or give it up. Well, obviously, all millionaires and billionaires have to have their assets seized because everyone who's benefiting from this system is engaging in war against the people. Everyone who is benefiting from this system is engaging in war against the people.
So are you and I benefiting from the system? Like, do you have any money to your name?
I don't know. I have not seen your financial records.
Okay. Well, I can tell you they're very embarrassing and low. So
then you obviously wouldn't be on the list just because you go along to get along in this system. Everybody does, including myself.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, but I don't pay taxes and I don't claim anything. But I never turn down money for doing my work, and I very rarely get paid a tiny bit of money. But I never turn down money for my work.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that if you say that millionaires and billionaires are not subject to punishment for propping up this system, then who on earth is propping up this system?
Well, a lot of the billionaires don't even pay taxes. They've got loopholes in offshore accounts.
They all pay some taxes, obviously.
It doesn't Amazon and Google and all them pay no federal taxes?
Well, you're bringing up the Jewish so-called richest man on earth, Jeff Bezos, and he certainly pays some taxes, and Amazon doesn't pay zero taxes. They pay property taxes in Chesterfield County, about 15 miles from here. They don't pay nearly enough, but they pay some. Okay. They pay a lot more than almost any other entity in that jurisdiction.
Well, I'm with you that a lot of the rich people in the world are contributing to some of the problems, and that some of them can be held.
I'm saying, go ahead.
Some of them can be held responsible, but just to paint with a wide brush and generalization and say all the millionaires and billionaires should be killed, that's going to turn a lot of people off.
Are subject to capital punishment for their treason, which is war against the people. You're using the terminology killed.
Okay.
I'm saying are subject to capital punishment for their crimes.
After trials. Okay, it sounds better when you put it your way. So
they've already been tried. They've been exposed. This is it. Every corporation in the United States is a fiction. It is a made-up, two-dimensional creation of man. And every government agency around the world and in the United States is also a two-dimensional creation of man, a fictional corporation. And I don't just mean, hey, it's in concept a corporation. I mean it is a corporation registered by state corporation commissions all around the country, Delaware, Virginia, Maryland, etc., etc., etc. So what I'm saying is every millionaire and billionaire has to have this fraudulent two-dimensional creation to launder their so-called money, which is based in enslaving the people of the world and carrying out overt fraud, and through that carrying out tyranny and slavery against almost all the people of the world. There's probably about 20% of the American population that benefits from this system, and we're interested in turning the least powerful of that 20% on their bosses. We say this over and over again.
It kind of reminds me of Marxism a little bit, with the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. It's like you want to go after all the bourgeoisie, right? Am I pronouncing that right?
No, you are pronouncing the word bourgeoisie correct, bourgeoisie, but you're entirely incorrect when it comes to what Marxism. The basis of Marxism is what we have now. We live in a Soviet Marxist society. The United States has always propped up the Jews in control of the United States government, created the Soviet Union. They nurtured Marxism, which is political Judaism. That's what Marxism is.
Yeah.
And it's based on having a central bank create money using the labor of the people. That's what Marxism is based on. You can't have Marxism without a central bank that creates money by bonding people out. Yeah. Watch the bond market.
Well, I wasn't comparing to what you're saying to be totally similar to Marxism. I'm talking about just the part about the bourgeoisie. That's what it reminded me of. Let me ask you about the weapons of war.
But how so? How so?
Because you're talking about all the millionaires and billionaires that are the owners of everything, that are benefiting off the system, that we want to are subject to trials and capital punishment, like you said.
Yeah, but Marx was a millionaire of his time. So what I'm saying is, it's not about rhetoric. It's about what is. And I'm not saying that property and gaining property through work is illegitimate. I'm saying everything about a central banking system that creates money out of nothing except for the enslavement and labor of the people is criminal and has nothing to do with Marxism.
I agree. The Federal Reserve and the central banks are criminal.
Here, I'll maybe elucidate this further. And that the scorecard by which individuals are deemed to be criminal, if the basis of everything is debt, leveraging debt, which all the money is debt, all of it is debt, if that the vehicle by which the measuring stick, I should say, by which we set a hierarchy of levels of criminals are the levels at which individuals can unlawfully leverage debt or enslave the people. A millionaire benefits, and the rest of us, a millionaire only benefits, I should say, when the rest of us suffer. In this system, you have to take it from someone else in order to gain financially for yourself. Do you disagree with that?
No, I'm nodding my head. I agree.
Okay, good. Then we can move on then.
Okay. You mentioned, basically, I asked in one of our other interviews, you said we need to open carry, go to surround federal buildings,
I'm saying I've already done that.
Surround the police. I know, but you want to see more people doing that.
Follow our lead of experienced individuals. That we've already done this, that's been seen by hundreds of thousands of folks. We do this generally when we surround the police. We in general are open carrying and have a camera, and we can say, why don't you move along, police? Mm-hmm. They have no more right to order us around than we do to order them around, except for we have the right to order them around, and they don't have the right to order us around. The police are illegal. I'm calling, and I have called on international television many times, call for the disarming of the government and police. It's that simple.
And
I do it sometimes face to face with the police while I'm armed, and sometimes other people join in who are also armed.
And I'm just curious, do they ever threaten to arrest you, or have they arrested you for this?
I've been abducted countless times. How do you not know that?
Your videos
I've
get
been
taken down off of
disappeared
YouTube.
from prison
YouTube
multiple
doesn't give
times.
them
How do you
and
not
put
know
them in
that?
my feed. I don't. You act like everybody, your information is just being sent into everybody's computers. It doesn't work like that. They're probably shadow banning you and banning and censoring your stuff off the internet. That's probably why I haven't seen it. And I have seen some of your work. I saw your confrontation with Luke Radowski. I
I mean,
saw
that's, again, Luke Radowski. I mean, like that's. I almost wish I hadn't done that because he's such an inconsequential joker. But what I'm saying is, when you get abducted by the government, look, all you have to do is do a Google search. You don't have to differentiate me from anyone else. Google the words Chris Dorsey, and what you will find are pictures of me actively being abducted. Let's see. Okay. Where? No.
I like the long hair look.
Yeah. Okay. No. What I'm saying is, hey, no, the screen you were just on.
Yeah.
Not the pictures.
Okay.
Not the images.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So scroll down. Scroll down. There. The abduction of Chris Dorsey from blah blah blah. Okay. So again, that's not the only.
Mm-hmm.
There's 3, 4, 5. At one time, there were at least a half a dozen videos of me being abducted by government agents that have been removed. Again, you can play these things like they're separate issues, but you ask a question and I gave you an answer. Yes, they abduct me. I've been disappeared. I recently confronted, not for the first time, multiple of the deputies and police chiefs of the city of Richmond who have carried out attempts to kill me. Tim Kaine, J.C. Wilmore. You see, when I say these names individually and I say, these guys have attempted to kill me, murder me, take me out, that it's not that secret. Again, if it wasn't true and I didn't have the evidence, I would look pretty stupid. But I do. And not only would I look stupid, I would be subject to a lawsuit. I would be subject to somebody, before they sue me, to dispute anything that I'm saying.
Have you ever been sued?
No way.
No. And were you armed when you got kicked out of this meeting here?
What do you think?
Well, I don't know. In California, they don't let you go into courtrooms.
I'm asking you a question. You say you don't know, but I'm asking you what you think.
Well, in California, it's illegal. You have to go through scanners to get into courtrooms and public offices. So I'm guessing maybe in Virginia it's different.
I don't go any place publicly where I'm not armed. It's unsafe for me. And I'm armed at all of these meetings, and I made public to everyone that I was going to be armed everywhere I went after the assassination attempt, after there was an attempt to kill me by a lawyer and Democratic Party official called Gerald C. Wilmore, at the behest of Mayor Dwight Jones and Senator Tim Kaine. There's multiple court cases about this, that they have attempted to kill me. And after that point, I did not go anywhere without a gun, because it would be stupid for me not to film everything while I'm armed.
Right, yeah.
So none of these other guys, they haven't had this stuff happen to them once. It's happened to me a dozen times. Why is that? Because, again, none of their words mean anything until you call for the lawful abolition of government and you're filming it and you're armed. It means nothing at all.
So the lawful abolition of the government, you talk about that we're going to take back the weapons of war from the military and the government. What are we going to do when we have them all? Are we going to keep them, destroy them, keep them locked up in a room? Like, I'm trying to see.
You should read my book. Are you going to read my book? Because all the questions that you've asked
Yeah, I want to
are you
read
gonna
your
my
book, but hope.
Okay.
I just have a couple questions. Maybe you could just give me a quick, concise answer. So, what do we do with the weapons of war once we've taken them all back? Like, if say your militia hypothetically takes over the government and the militia has an uprising, and what are we gonna do with the nukes and everything? How will it be any better with you and the militia in charge than the criminal governments? Because a lot of times when there's a revolution,
Do you think I haven't already answered this question during our discussion in the past 15 minutes?
um,
I'll answer it again, but I just want to go. Do you think that I haven't already answered it? And
Just
I'll answer it again.
answer.
And then we'll see.
I don't think that you've answered it because I wouldn't have asked it again. What are you gonna do with the nukes and all the weapons? You're in charge of them. What are you gonna do with them?
I'm not in charge of them. But what
Well,
I
somebody's
say
got
about
to somebody's
what
got to
we're
go into that federal
First,
office in or that military
First,
building and take it over. What are you gonna do with it then?
how do you audit something? How do you audit something? How do you know about something? Okay, so first of all, this is a nuclear weapon, allegedly. Okay, so this is a nuclear weapon. If I put it outside and tell my neighbor, you're in charge of this, do what you want, use it against me, I don't care, do whatever you want, I don't have any control over it. So first, you have to identify all the weapons of war. Then you have to monitor it. Now, number one, the weapons of war are being used against us right now. So it's not only that we don't have any control over it, the weapons of war are being used against us.
You mean like guns with
disagree?
police on the streets?
That's one aspect, but I mean like September 11th, like the Fort Detrick unleashing diseases into the population.
Mm-hmm.
Like every aspect of symmetrical and asymmetrical warfare.
Okay.
Okay, so everything, it needs to be identified. Then what have we already said? It needs to be monitored. And then if we all monitor and know what's going on, and I'm not only talking about these weapons that are used to harm people physically. I'm talking about the weapons of war, the public airwaves, the Operation Mockingbird military Pentagon-controlled Jewish media.
Yeah, they're using our tax dollars to do propaganda against us and to lie to us. Right.
Yes. So all of these things must be in the hands of the people.
Okay.
Then we all decide, after we're monitoring it, number one, if it's monitored all the time, it cannot be used
Against
except
us.
for publicly.
Yeah.
It can't be secretly used against us
Mm-hmm.
or quasi-secretly used against us.
Yeah.
So once everything is monitored, then that solves, I would say, most or at least many of the problems.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you that the government is out of control.
Let's get to that point first.
Yeah, the government's out of control. It's too big. They need to be monitored. But some people would argue that Congress has committees that have oversight over the military and over the nukes and over, there's supposed to be a balance of powers, so they say, going on. So what do you say to somebody that says that we all, and that the government is legitimate because they're
continuity of operations and the fact that the constitutional government does not function. There is no functioning constitutional government. That the government now is a Jewish-controlled cabal that is part of a larger one world government controlled by the UN, the Bank for International Settlements, the IMF, the SWIFT system, which transfers trillions of dollars between all nations 24 hours a day, and that our so-called Congress, number one, doesn't do anything that they're supposed to under the Constitution, and they're controlled by a foreign entity called the State of Israel through something called AIPAC, and that the people don't have any control over it, and that the Congress has a limited power. say in Article 1, Section 8. Let's see. The Congress has, Congress shall have the power to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures of land and water. Okay, we'll go down next to the most important part about what the question you asked. To raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money to that use shall be longer for a longer term than 2 years.
Yeah, we've strayed a long way from that.
Right. So when everything that the Congress does flies in the face of that, the whole Pentagon infrastructure, which controls the government and is the enforcement arm of the Jewish banking cartel, the Federal Reserve Bank, the Bank for International Settlements, which is the lender of last resort and sets the capitalization rates for the Federal Reserve Bank, the Bank of Russia, the Bank of China, the Bank of England, the ECB, all the central banks of the world, with the exception of Iran and North Korea, which they control indirectly, then you have absolutely nothing close to anything constitutional or any oversight power of any government entity, especially when we already know that these guys are bought and paid for and have identified who is bought and paid for them.
Yeah,
by
Cliff,
name and organization.
I see this. I see the importance of the stuff you're talking about, and I understand why you're so passionate about it. And our first interview, I said you gave me a lot of good stuff to talk about, and I meant that. It's always been in my head that we're not going to be able to vote our way out of this, and that some type of
voting is rigged. The voting is rigged. Like, if somebody votes and they press a button on a computer screen, and then they also talk about how Unit 8200 of the Mossad, which I'm going to use the terminology Unit 8200 of the Mossad instead of Talpiot, because I think that using the terminology Talpiot is also part of the limited hangout strategy. When they have a backdoor into all the voting machines and all the nuclear codes, all the water filtration systems, all the power grids, why on earth would anybody who's not an idiot vote or advocate any results of voting?
See, all those things you just said, you and I know that they're true, but a whole bunch of people out there in America aren't aware of that. So the people...
I'm not interested in what stupid people think.
Well, you're going to have have enough people to actually ever be successful with the militia. You're going to have to...
Always a small number of people who rule over the masses. Always. That's a rule. There's always been war, and it's always been a small group of people who rule over the masses, always, and it will always be that way.
Would you agree, when there's been government overthrows and revolutions throughout history, that sometimes the people that get in are even worse than it was before?
Sometimes.
And do you think that that's justified fear that people might have?
Actually, I want to say that when there are overthrows, it's always the same people taking over and making things worse when things do get worse. Now, I advocate the abolishment of the connection between the United States government and the American colonies, America, and the illegitimate King of England. The illegitimate King of England.
Oh, I think no king is legitimate.
When that happened,
right?
I mean, it does. I mean, people. I mean, that was the basis of many of the wars of our ancestors. Who's the legitimate king?
Mm-hmm.
That's the War of the Roses, the English Civil War, the 30 Years' War. Always dukes, kings, and so forth fighting one another. But we have a republic. We have a constitutional republic, and it is based on the common law, and the common law is based on the fact that if one trespasses against another, that man creates government, that government is subservient to man, and if one man trespasses against another man, and when I say man, I'm not saying like only men, I'm saying the biblical, like in the book of Genesis, man, God created man, male and female. Man, adults. Adults.
All right, well, we're at Sorry, that didn't come through. What?
Adult human beings have all control over government, and the only crime that can be committed is one man trespassing against another man. And it is the duty of the wronged party to either accept that or make a claim against another. And that's the basis of the law, and anything outside of that is extra lawful and unlawful.
All right, well, we've been talking for almost an hour and 45. I'm starting to get a little antsy in my seat. Is there anything else important that you wanted to touch on?
Yeah, just the challenge to everyone out there that is on that you have interviewed, Christopher Bolin, starting from the top. If you think somebody else is at the top, that's who I want to interview. And I say over and over again, as we say always, all you have to do is follow behind our lead. I'm confident to say that we are leading this, that the militia is leading this, because I'm not confident in anybody else's interpretation of this simple information and their bona fides, that they don't have the standing to do this. When others say that I'm an economist and a geopolitical analyst and a legal scholar, I have standing to do that. When somebody says that I'm the commander of the Virginia militia, that means that that's not my title, but that's what I do. And that all other militias and other groups who are not following exactly what we're saying are illegitimate. And that this whole discussion is about that. Look up Virginia militia. Just do a Google search for Commander Virginia militia, and you'll see what comes up. George Washington comes up.
Washington was the commander of the Virginia militia.
So keep going down. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. Scroll down. Commander of Virginia militia.
Oh.
Not that.
Oh, I see. Back up and go to commander.
Back up. Scroll down. Commander of Virginia militia. Commander of Virginia militia. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. They changed the Google search to remove. It used to be just a whole page that was our information.
Oh.
But it doesn't matter.
I was going to ask you about, I see this Vice Inside America's Largest Right-Wing Militia.
Hey, what is Vice? I mean, you're talking about actors. When the governors of Virginia and FBI special agents in charge and acting attorney generals of the United States, when their knees buckle when they see me coming, imagine, and there's video of this, when the 3%ers, look, I don't want to have anything I'm doing associated with these guys wearing masks. Mm-hmm. I never mask myself. These guys are actors. They're illegitimate. And when I walk up on these guys that are armed, I call them shills, and they can't do anything but deny it. But hey, this is a nice Raymond James commercial you're showing and promoting Vice in the PBS NewsHour.
It's not on the screen. You and I are on the screen.
We are now.
We were before, too. Anyway, I was just going to ask you about some of these other militias.
PBS NewsHour is not on the screen right now with a bunch of federal agents running through the woods?
No, this is what's on the screen. This is what I'm recording. So it's on my screen, but the recording isn't seeing it. That's what I'm saying. I was going to ask you about...
the recording's not seeing it. The recording's not seeing these masked individuals?
It is now. It is now. I just switched to it now. So this
before.
Georgia militia group... You think they're actors and they're what's wrong about their militia?
I think that they're government agents. Yeah, I think that they're government agents.
Yeah.
Because this is not about what we're doing. Because obviously someone would be a moron if they think that these 10, 12 guys running through the woods are going to take on the apparatus of the standing army. That bloody.
What makes you more capable of doing it than them?
I am not more capable of doing it more than them, except for the fact that everything that we talked about in this interview leading up to this point. That it's not about, a bunch of white trash running through the woods. It's about gaining control and requiring the government to carry out the law. So you're promoting these guys a lot on this channel, and I really disagree with even showing these guys.
I am not promoting these guys. I'm asking you about them. Is there something that they say that you disagree with?
You are promoting them, and you're trying to see. I see what you're doing. So what I'm asking you to do is to remove this, and I don't want to have anything to do with this.
Okay.
You're promoting these guys.
You're making it very clear that you have nothing to do with these guys. I'm asking you.
And you're showing them. Yeah, that's effective. Effective, like this guy. So you keep showing it, and you will not stop.
So what do they not say? Call for the same things that you do.
Why do you keep showing this? And
Chris,
all you're doing.
Chris, this is what I'm recording.
There we go.
This is what I'm recording.
Fine. Now, could you click out of that, please?
Sure, I will turn it off so you don't see it anymore. But answer my question.
It's back on there now.
Answer my question. Do they?
And you see, like, you cannot shoot straight. You can't shoot straight.
Oh my gosh, Chris. Do these other militias, do they call for the same things that you're calling for? The takeover.
Absolutely. Do they? You tell me.
I don't know. I'm new to all this militia stuff. You tell me. I'm asking a simple question.
You tell me. They do not.
They don't. So they just go train in the woods and jump over little wood.
They don't. We don't advocate running through the woods and jumping over wood with a group of 5 to 10 individuals who could not even face up to a small town's SWAT team.
I agree. Well, I definitely think what you're doing, showing up armed with your camera, is more effective than these guys in the woods doing army training.
Because they're not lawfully requiring individual government agents to turn over their weapons and placing them under arrest. Yeah,
and I agree with you that I'm very well aware of all the controlled opposition and the infiltration of these militia nationalist groups. So I hear you with your skepticism about them.
It's not that they're infiltrated. It's not that they're infiltrated. That's not what I'm saying. Just like the 9/11 truth movement was started by the government before 9/11 even started, the militia movement is not being infiltrated. It is created by the government. So again, unless folks are calling for the abolition of government, you know that they are controlled by the government.
Okay. And what I'm saying is, just because everybody's not public as you talking about overthrowing the government doesn't mean that they're...
Whoa. I said lawfully abolishing the government.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm not...
Why when I call somebody a government asset or a government agent, do you say that I'm calling them a shill?
You use both. You use both.
Abolition of government. Wait. Why when I say we require the lawful abolition of government, why do you then say you're advocating the overthrow of the government? Even when I say, well, you can kind of say that, except for you have to put in the caveat lawfully, that the law requires a regime. The law requires.
And my answer is, I'm not rehearsing all this stuff. I don't live and breathe the militia, so I don't have all the terms down.
But you don't have to rehearse it. All you have to do is listen to what I'm saying right to you, and not say something that is different from what I'm saying, and acting as if that is what I'm saying.
Okay, I apologize for mischaracterizing your stance. So you got your challenge. You got your challenge out to everybody on my page, specifically Bolin, Ryan Dawson, Jeremy Roth, Kushel. I don't think that any of them are going to want to debate you because. Can I finish? I don't think any of them are going to want to debate you because your litmus test is, if you're not calling for the peaceful. I already got the terms mixed up. What lawful abolition of the government, then you're a limited hangout and a shill. People, Bolin.
And if you take money from the government, and if you're an obvious shill and misinformation agent, or you're an obvious actor, or you work for the government. Okay, Jeremy Roth, Koshel.
Yeah.
Dude, well, IMBD, that's what an actor gets. I was in the movie Lincoln. I don't have an IMBD page, but Jeremy Roth Koshel does. And what is his IMBD for? Occupy Los Angeles. What is Occupy? Occupy, I called for the first meeting of Occupy Richmond, and when I did, I said, this is a government operation. Same with what in the world are they spraying on us? That guy is whatever that guy's name is, Dane Wigington is definitely a government agent. And Occupy Los Angeles and all the other Occupy movements were operations of the FBI, Army Intelligence, the Richmond Federal Reserve Bank, and international CIA front groups like Otpor and Canvas. Do you know about Otpor and Canvas? Oh, stars, George Carlin, Deepak Chopra, and Albert Einstein? Give me a break, man. And it says, from the Arab Spring to the American Autumn. Who did the American Spring and the American Autumn and the Arab Spring? Do you know? I said the two organizations. Otpor and Canvas.
Otpor and Canvas.
Otpor and Canvas. Yeah, look it up. Otpor, Canvas.
Otpor?
O-T-P-O-R, I believe. O-T-P-O-R. And Canvas. C-A.
Serbia. Is this why you were so suspicious of
Serbia!
Of Jan Irving? You called him out about being married to a Serb.
Hey, when was he in Serbia? Was he in Serbia between the years of 1998 and 2004?
He said 17 years ago he was married to her in the debate you had with him. So that would be around that time frame, yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting. That's a new word. See, Chris, I like you, man. I'm always learning new stuff from you, and I like your spirit.
I do have a vast knowledge. I will give myself credit that I have a more vast knowledge than most individuals. And I will also, and I believe that Canvas is spelled with two S's, but I'm not absolutely sure. And if you look up the two words together, that's when you'll find probably the most pertinent information, I would presume. But what I'll also say is I'm always talking to somebody smarter than myself, no matter who I'm talking to, because I'm always looking to gain some sort of knowledge.
Good.
Yeah, Center for Applied Nonviolent Action and Strategy.
That's so perfect. I asked you, since you say everybody that on my channel are agents or shills, I asked you who is somebody who's not a shill that I could have on as a guest that you would give your approval of.
Eberhardt.
Chris Eberhardt.
Hey, interview Clifford Eberhardt.
Clifford
Eberhardt or David Dauterive.
These are your two buddies that have been
EBR.
spamming my page all over the last few days.
E-B-E-R, E-E-R, E-B-E-R, E-B-E-R, E-B-E-R. Yeah, Clifford Eberhardt. There you got it right there.
Okay.
Yep. YouTube,
all right.
Twitter, yeah.
I'd appreciate if you and all your buddies would stop spamming all over my page. You know, I've given you.
We don't have the ability to spam.
I could show you my my Facebook and my Twitter notifications. They've been full of you guys all over the place, and my YouTube channel. I put up a YouTube video today, and people. It's an hour and a half video, and within 1 minute, people are just saying, "Oh, we're all liars and we're all shills," and you know. It doesn't help. There's a lot of people out there.
I don't have anything to do with that.
You called me. I didn't say you did. You called me a straight shooter. I've been open. I reached out to you first. I promoted your stuff.
Yeah,
So
at some points you were pretty straight up, but after that.
What am I not being straight up on? What am I not being straight up on?
I mean, we can let the people decide. We have
well, you just said it. You decided to say it. So what am I not being straight up about?
I believe you're a lot of times disingenuous about what I'm saying. You use trigger words, and I use exact opposite words. You do things like we bring up multiple things about Ryan Dawson, and then you start saying things like, oh, so the problem you have with Ryan Dawson is that he thinks that a plane hit the Pentagon. And there were at least 3 other things that we said about Ryan Dawson, and then you start going off about loose change and Jason Burmis, which also was an obvious another controlled opposition outlet. When I challenged Christopher Bolin, you say, oh, the problem you have with Christopher Bolin is one thing, and it was really lots of other things, that and especially the money supply and him jet setting around the world. The fact that he lived on a kibbutz was one element.
And I said those are reasonable questions to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not Bolin. I'm not. I don't speak for him. I'm not gonna. I don't know. I don't have his defense for that.
You have a close relationship with Christopher Bolin.
We've done several interviews. He lives on another continent. We've done a few interviews when he was touring around here in America.
A close working relationship.
We've done like
how many
four or five videos.
6?
Yes, he was nice enough to offer me interviews when I was a small YouTuber with no following. So I appreciate him for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think that when you spend all your time calling everybody who's like pretty closely aligned with you in a lot of views.
Wait a second now. When I spend all my time,
a lot of your time.
How can I spend all my time doing that when I'm doing all these other things that nobody else is doing?
A lot of time.
That's not what all my time spent doing.
A lot. You took the time to post all of our private messages and calling me out. Like, why are you taking up your energy to call out me when I'm promoting your stuff?
Because it worked. And I said that already in this interview. My tactic worked. It worked. It's not the first time this has worked. This is not my first rodeo.
What your tactic is to call me out as a shill, so I'll do a debate with you so you can get more publicity? Like, what tactic are you talking about?
Whatever happened is what happened. Hold on a second. Whatever happened is what happened. Why do you have to reinterpret things and misrepresent things when it's obvious to everyone what happened? Do you have a problem with communicating it? I don't want to do any of this work that's not public. I don't want to have private messages with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have friends in this movement. We don't drink. This is work. So what I did, my intention and my plan, it came to fruition. And that's this interview. So again, all I have to say is, when are you going to put up the original video, and when are you going to put this one up?
I'll put this one up right away as soon as we're done.
Instead of representing.
You heard me? I'll put this video up right away, because as soon as it's done, I press stop.
And then put the other
Yeah,
up soon,
I told you.
please.
Listen, you're being so pushy. You make me not want to put it up at all, even though I think it'll be valuable. Well, I do care.
You're using an excuse to back out of what you said you were already.
I'm not backing. Don't give me any excuses then.
I'm very pushy. I can be much pushier than this.
Don't harass me when I say I'm going to put up a video sometime this week, and then over Memorial Day holiday, you say, it's not up, you're a shill, everybody's a shill. I mean, everybody thinks you're crazy that you call everybody a shill.
I said that everyone on your page, on your YouTube channel, is a government asset, but before we even filmed the interview that you have not put up yet.
But I shared it everywhere. It's live on Facebook, and I shared it multiple times, so I'm not suppressing it. And by saying that everybody on my channel is an agent or an asset or a shill or whatever, you're insinuating.
Are you whining about this, or are you going to be a man and just do it?
You're insinuating that I'm a shill and that I'm compromised and that I'm part of some secret.
Asset. You are being used by government assets at the very least.
No, I'm not.
Well, that's what this whole interview has been about. We can let everybody decide.
Yeah, that's the way the world works. People decide.
Right, and that's what this whole thing has been about. Has it not?
And that's why I'm going to put up the video. You're just being... People are going to see... They're going to see that I told you I'd put it up on Sunday, and then you started freaking out Monday night. I said I'd put it up in a week.
I didn't freak out.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't freak out. Hey, define freak out.
Posting all over my page. Stuff like this. See, this
Right.
is from your buddy.
Making public our conversation because you start like backing off.
I didn't back off of anything. One day I didn't put the video up. It ties up my computer for 4 hours. Look at this post that you put up. Shared on my timeline yesterday. All these private messages. Again. Over and over again. You keep posting all over my page. My notifications are packed with you and all of your buddies with this nonsense. I'm about ready just to block all of you because you're a distraction and a waste of time. I could have been spending this morning. I got all these videos and all these notes I've stuck to make new videos and to help people educate stuff. So one day they might come around and be able to think, wow, we're in such deep shit. We got to join the militia. We got to abolish lawfully the government. But instead I'm arguing with you when I could be one of your allies, but you just eat your own and want to just cause infighting with everybody.
Quit being a whiner.
Says the guy who cries when I don't put the interview up after one day over Memorial Day.
I'm not crying. I was just it worked. It worked.
Yeah, you got your third interview in a week, and I don't think this one was any more productive than the other first two. You're just like a broken record, like a one-trick pony in your litmus test of if you're not calling for the abolition of the government, then you're an asset and a shill. I mean,
yes.
How is that working for you? How is that work? How many militia members do you have?
If you agree, do you disagree with what I'm saying?
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, just not your approach and your absolutism behind all of it.
What do you disagree with?
I agree with your approach of saying, I don't think you should vaguely say we're going to hang and kill all the millionaires and billionaires. I don't think that you should say that everybody. Hold on. One more thing.
That was never said.
It's.
And if you go back and listen to this video, we go through and say it's not me saying this. That the government is engaged in war against the people, that millionaires and billionaires are financing the government, therefore that they're engaged in war. And again, anybody at any time can turn over their ill-gotten assets and they won't be millionaires and billionaires anymore, and they won't be engaged in war against the people.
Okay, that sounds much more reasonable. I like hearing that. So, that's better than the sound bites of saying all the millionaires and billionaires.
I already said that.
Okay.
You got short-term memory issues, man.
I believe that was from the first interview that's posted on my page. But one other thing I got to say is when you say everybody is a shill, it really waters down what it means to be a shill. People that are new to this, they're going to say
government asset. Why do you keep using the word shill when I'm using the word government agent and government asset?
Okay, well, they're...
And again, we've established the government controls everything. They control everything about the money supply.
We've gone through this so many times. I don't need to hear all this again.
Right. So if anyone is not calling for the abolition of government, then they are, by definition, a controlled, limited hangout government asset, whether they know it or not.
That's your definition. That's your standard. That's not everybody else's standard. And even if you do feel that way, if you think that everybody that's not screaming from the rooftops about overthrowing the government, and sorry, I used the wrong word again, peaceful law...
Screaming from the rooftops. Where have you seen people screaming from the rooftops? Who's screaming from rooftops? And again, who's talking about overthrowing the government? We're talking about the founding documents of the United States and the word lawful abolition. You look like you're moving around like you're uncomfortable.
I am. I've been sitting in this chair for 2 hours.
That's fine. That's not my problem.
Beating a dead horse. The point is that...
Squirming because you're misrepresenting things. And you're trying to turn this into you're just jumbling everything up now.
No, okay. No, I'm not. Okay, one last point I want to make, and then I'll let you have the last word. When you say that so many people are shills or agents or assets or whatever interchangeable word that all mean about the same thing, it's watering down what it means to be a shill. Because we know that...
No, it's not.
Yes, it does.
No, it's not.
Okay, everybody's a shill but you in your world. Everybody's an agent but you. You're the only good militia. You're the only good investigator. You're the only good researcher.
Hey,
and everybody else is a shill.
Okay, wait a second. Can a 2-year-old be fooled?
Of course.
Can a 2-year-old be fooled?
Anybody can be fooled.
Okay. Can a genius be fooled?
Yeah.
Is it harder it harder to fool somebody who's 2 years old and inexperienced, or is it harder to fool somebody who is relatively well schooled, educated, and knowledgeable?
Obviously, the latter.
You have to use different tactics to fool someone who is relatively educated and informed than an ignorant
right? Yeah,
child.
yeah. What's your point, though?
That's controlled opposition. You have to have a more sophisticated apparatus and talking points, etc., to fool someone who is educated. That's what your channel is for.
Okay, thank you for the endorsements. I'll be happy to have you on next time so you can talk down my channel and insinuate that I'm a terrible person.
Just put it up there. Don't hide
asset.
What's going on.
Oh, it'll go up for sure. Don't worry about it. It's going up.
I am worried about it, or else we wouldn't be talking right now, because I don't think you would have put it up unless you had been shown that you agreed publicly. I think that's what you're upset about.
You know, Chris, I like your passion and I agree with you on a lot of stuff, but you're really frustrating and you're really irritating, and I think you're a little too paranoid. I think you're a little too paranoid, and I think that if you and your buddies keep up all of the harassing. If you and your buddies keep up all the harassing and spamming and just filling up my notification box so that it's consuming my whole life and all my time, I'm going to block all of you.
Who are my buddies who are doing that?
Some guy named Clifford, some guy named Daniel.
Daniel?
Yeah, I believe it's Daniel.
Daniel?
How many people are in your militia?
I mean, if people are harassing you so hard, why don't you even know their name?
Because it's only been the last few days, and I don't try to spend too much time.
I mean, hey, when somebody really harasses me, and believe me, this is not harassment, you know, somebody posting something on your page, I know their name instantly. Again, don't be such a baby. All right, well, hey, thanks a lot. I think that's pretty much it. I think, so when are you going to post the Friday interview?
When I feel like it, sometime this week.
So you're going to still delay install. Okay.
I'm going to do whatever I want, man. You're not my boss. Quit being so pushy. You're like delusional with the way you act.
Tell me what to do, but I don't have to listen to you.
Okay, well, I'll just have to block you then if you're going to keep irritating and annoying me all the time.
Hey, we're doing an interview and I'm asking you questions. And if you're going to be a baby, be a baby. That's fine.
I reserve the right to be a baby. Thank you, Chris.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You do reserve the right to be a baby.
You're the mature one and I'm a baby, but I'm not going to turn this into a Jan Irving interview. But I do have some clips of that if you'd like to see some.
What?
Some clips of your Jan Irving interview.
Government's criminal. It needs to be abolished. And anybody who doesn't say the government must be abolished immediately and enforcing the Constitution, handing all the weapons of war and all of the issuance of currency to the people, which is all that we do. That's all that we do. Anybody who doesn't do that is a Fed. That's what I know. You're a government agent. I don't claim it. I know it.
Right.
I didn't say your work was fake. I said that you're a sketchy agent.
See, you just call everybody an agent over and over again. Jan's not an agent, man. He's just doing research in a little cabin in the woods. Like, by calling everybody an agent, it waters down who the real agents are. It muddies the water, and people that are getting new into this all stuff, they're going to be confused.
I stand behind my words. Why are you trying to cover it up?
I don't even look on your page,
Jan
man.
took that video down. I didn't.
That's true. Jan won't even do a debate with me. So
Jan put this video up, and he disabled the comments. Then he took the video down. And he has not even mentioned it anywhere at any other time. He's trying to cover it up.
Yeah, he was obviously lost his temper.
Obvious government agents all the time, and then admits it. Joe Rogan, Joe Atwell, or whatever the guy's name is. You go through down the list, and he's admitting that this. And one of the other things I think is upsetting you about me making our conversations public is that you stated in one of your messages back and forth to me which you answered out of your own free will, you're being too pushy. And so what if they are agents that I'm interviewing? I can do what I want. Obviously you can.
Yeah,
but
whether
said,
they're agents
so
or not, you don't
agents,
tell me who I'm allowed to interview. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not. I can't. I don't have the capacity to do that.
Yeah.
I don't have the capacity to control you. You control you.
That's what I was the point I was making.
You need to answer for your actions, at least, or be illegitimate. You have to answer or be illegitimate. So put the stuff up on your page.
You gave me all these accusations.
How this all plays out.
The interview is up on my Facebook. The first interview I did with you, I shared all over the place. Just because I haven't reposted it to my YouTube.
How many Facebook friends do you have? How many Facebook friends do you have?
I don't know. I don't check that number regularly. But definitely my YouTube following is bigger. You're being so pushy to put the interview on my YouTube.
Whoa. I'm just making a point. I'm making a point. Mm-hmm. How many Facebook friends do you have? How many eyeballs on your Facebook page? More or less than your YouTube page?
Far less than my YouTube.
Far less. Mm-hmm. Far less. That's how you compartmentalize.
Okay. So are you going to give me any apologies? Are you going to apologize at all when I do put it up and say, "Oh, I was wrong about you"?
I'm not going to apologize at all.
Okay.
I'm not going to apologize at all.
Are you going to apologize for being pushy and when I told you I'd take a week to put, or I'll put it up sometime this week, and then you start freaking out the next day that I don't put it up?
No. I asked you when and you didn't respond.
Yes, I did.
You would have said, "I'll put it up on Friday." You didn't give a specific time when you were going to put it up.
I said sometime this week.
Sometime this week. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. You see, I'm experienced in dealing with folks sweeping things under the rug.
Yeah.
If you would have said, "I'll put it up Friday, I'll put it up by Friday, I'll put it up by Sunday, I'll put it up by Tuesday, by Wednesday," then I can wait until these times and then see if you've done it or not. Otherwise, it's just some vague thing.
Okay.
So
look, here's the proof. May 26th. You asked me. This is May 26th at night. Are you gonna put it on your YouTube?
I know what happened, dude.
And then
I know what happened. And
it's not for you. It's to show everybody else. And then I go, "Oh, did you post it to your YouTube so I could download it easier and don't have to watch the whole 2 hours, or just stream to Facebook?" It's only on Facebook. Okay, I got to screen record it. It takes 2 hours, and then upload it. It takes another hour and a half.
All you have to do is make an MP3 copy. It doesn't take that long.
I don't know what you're talking about, making MP3 copies from Facebook. That's not the way that I've ever done it before.
Video converter. Go to online video converter. Take the link. Go to put the simple Facebook link into online video converter. Convert it to an MP3, and then you can put anything you want in the background, and it takes about 5 minutes, if that, to get an audio recording, which is all that matters of the entire interview.
All right. Well, I was gonna put the video up, but the point is May 27th at 2 o'clock. I said I'll record it and get it posted to my channel sometime this week.
That's fine.
Okay.
Good.
So if I say I'm gonna do something sometime this week,
Wednesday.
and then
you got 2 more days.
No, then I got that was Sunday. That was Sunday afternoon. Monday was a holiday, and then Monday night.
Okay, you got 3 more days.
And then it was one day. And then Monday night, you started freaking out, posting all this stuff, challenging me all over again.
You used the word freaking out.
Yeah, you freaked out, man.
I was calmly sending you messages.
Okay.
And it worked.
It worked, yeah. You got your other interview. Okay.
Exactly.
Anything else, or should I close it out?
You can close it out if you want to, but you close it out, and then I'll close it out.
Okay. So, this was Chris Dorsey with the Militia Intelligence Report and various other things. Adam Green, no more news. We were debating on several issues. You guys watched the whole thing.
Everybody knows what we were debating on.
Everybody does not know who we are. Everybody does not know who you are.
What we were debating on, if they're watching to the end of the video. Yes.
That's what I said,
yes. Yeah. Everyone knows what we were debating on.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Okay.
All right. Hey, thanks, Adam, and I look forward to seeing the expose of your channel and all the government agents exposed on your own channel, which you said you were going to do.
And this is the interview I did for your show on Friday. This is the big expose?
Well, and this one too, yeah.
Okay. All right, yep, we'll put it up and let everybody decide for themselves. That's all we can do, right?
I mean, they're watching it live too, yeah. But yeah, besides that, I want to reach as many folks as possible, yeah.
Great.
So, all right, well, thanks, man. Peace and God bless.
Take it easy.